if eyes could tell the truth.
I'm going to object to this entire series of questions. Simply fishing under the statute does not vitiate the crime of open carry.
And number two, your legal opinion is not my concern right now about what the law does or doesn't say. I'm asking the officer a question.
You keep representing to him what a Florida statute says, and you're telling him something that's not true. So if you want to keep misquoting the law, you go ahead, but I'm going to make an objection to it.
This is why they need to get rid of qualified immunity really fast.
We're back on the video record at 2:45 p.m.
Sergeant Baldock, whose decision was it to approach these individuals in this tactical formation?
Before, to the best of my recollection, we talked about how we're going to approach these gentlemen before we got on the pier, and we all came to the agreement, we're going to approach tactically with our weapons drawn, safely securing each one, and then once they're secure, started the investigation, figuring out what's going on, why are these guys here, see if everything checks out.
At the time you walked onto that pier, had you been given any information by any person that these individuals had made an aggressive move towards anybody?
No.
At the time you walked onto that pier, had you been given any information by any person that these people were in the act of committing a criminal offense?
No. Other than open carry.
Okay. Which you now know wasn't even a crime.
Correct.
Objection in the form of the question.
With
Object to the form of the question.
with the exception,
Take a breath in between, so let us
Gotcha.
object.
with the exception of the fishing or hunting.
So it's your understanding that open carry is a crime unless you are hunting, fishing, or camping.
Correct.
So open carry is also a crime unless you are a law enforcement officer.
Correct.
Okay. So equal weight, right there in the same statute, right?
Correct.
So it's not really an exception as much as it is the law of the state of Florida, right?
Objection in
Correct.
the form of the question.
The form of the question.
So the fact that you believed they were committing the crime of open carry when you walked out there was more about your lack of legal knowledge and lack of your knowledge of Florida law, and not the fact that they were committing a crime, right?
Objection in the form of the question, argumentative.
The form of the question. He wasn't wrong. He was right about the law.
You can answer.
Okay, repeat the question.
You did not have knowledge that fishing allowed them to openly carry at that time, correct?
Objection in the form of the question.
Object to the form of the question.
You can
At
answer.
that time, my top priority was officer safety and safety of the public.
Not the question I asked, sir. Madam Court Reporter, can you read the question back?
Question: You did not have knowledge that fishing allowed them to openly carry at that time.
I'm going to object to this entire series of questions. Simply fishing under the statute does not vitiate the crime of open carry. There are numerous other elements.
Mr. Rosenwald, that is, number one, a speaking objection, which we know how Mr. Switkus feels about that. And number two, your legal opinion is not my concern right now about what the law does or doesn't say. I'm asking the officer a question.
Well, what my concern is that you keep representing to him what a Florida statute says, and you're telling him something that's not true. So if you want to keep misquoting the law, you go ahead, but I'm going to make an objection to it.
Okay. So, officer, you now understand that it is not a crime to have an open carried firearm while fishing, right?
Objection in the form of the question.
Form.
I understand that, yes.
Okay. But that was not your understanding on the day of this incident, was it?
Form.
Join.
You can answer.
My understanding at that moment was that they were open carrying.
And that they were violating the law by doing so.
Correct.
Objection in the form.